That's how a V8 should sound. So, you saw me take the other Crown Victoria for a little spin around the block. Why don't I go ahead and take this one for a drive too? What we have here, voila, 2006 Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. You're probably thinking, well, Sov, you've already had a Police Interceptor. Why on earth would you buy another one? You know the problems that the Police Interceptor has, and you're right. I do know the problems the Police Interceptor has. It's one of the reasons why I bought it, because this is a car that after 5 years of owning one, I've gotten to know a thing or two about. How about I go ahead and give you a tour? This car came with a Tremec 3650 5-speed manual transmission, which I believe would have come out of the 5th generation Mustang. The Crown Victoria is not made in a 5-speed from the factory, except for one limited example that I found on the internet last night. So this right here alone makes this car pretty special. Alright, so this right here is your standard 4.6 modular V8 that comes in all of the cars that are Panther platform vehicles and a lot of other Ford vehicles as well. Previous owner put NGK Platinum spark plugs and MSD coils, which good quality parts. So I can take a little bit of comfort in the fact that I won't have to do a $600 coil job. I may end up replacing the throttle body. I know you can get another 10 or 15 horsepower just from that. There's this company, CanShift. You find their website on canshift.shop. We will have a link to it in the description. He makes these panels, so when you put a manual transmission in there, you no longer need the automatic shifter. So he makes this panel that covers up where that would be. Now this is an earlier version of that, and I guess he's made better versions of it since. It doesn't entirely match the trim, and it looks like it was 3D printed. It covers up that hole, and unless you're like right up on it, like, you know, it looks really nice. I was having a hard time getting that thing in there because I didn't want to break it. I posted this in a Facebook group, not this problem, but this car. The owner of the company saw that I did not have the panel on there, so he posted the link in the comment section. He reached out to me. So if he's, you know, reaching out to somebody who's not even the original purchaser of the product that he sold, and, you know, going through and supporting and standing by what he's made, that's, you know, really good service right there. So I'm gonna, you know, go ahead and shout him out here in this video. One thing that I do want to say, if I was keeping the other car, he makes a kit. It's really interesting. It's like a pedal shifter kit, and you kind of mount these things on the back of your wheel, and you plug them into the OBD sensor on the car, and you're able, if you, well, with an automatic transmission, it won't work with this, but you got an automatic transmission, and you plug that thing up, and it works on the Crown Vics, it works on the Grand Marquis, it probably works on the Marauders and the town cars. And don't quote me on this because I didn't look at the product description this far, but it might even work on the Cougar. I don't know. You know, you can go to the website in the description and you can find it there. He's got it on there for like $300. But if you're patient and you can wait a little bit. He's coming out with like a second version of it, which is supposed to be better. If you're looking to be able to control when you shift gears and what gear your car is in, and you don't have the several $1,000s that would be needed to do a manual swap, then that would be a pretty reasonable budget alternative. So, another really awesome thing that the previous owner did to this car was he got in contact with a man by the name of Marty Oakes. He's pretty much like the Crown Vic Whisperer. He can load a tune on this computer that you'll put into your ECU or whatever, and it'll make your car more powerful, almost like, you know, magic. $500 that I won't have to spend here, so that's great. Now, one thing that I have not made any decision on yet is the cage and like the police equipment on the car. It's got a full Code 3 light setup. There's a siren speaker underneath the honeycomb grill in the front, and there's a bunch of crap in the trunk that's all wired up, and it looks like it's really just missing the control panel. Now, I don't think I'm going to reactivate that stuff because that would just... Cops around here already hate me enough. And I'd never use this shit anyways, other than like car shows, because you really can't legally. So, other than looking cool, the Code 3 lighting setup in this car has no functional benefit whatsoever. I could leave it in there and it looks cool. So this cage is actually a little bit better than the cage in the old car. What makes it better is that in the old car, if you find yourself in the back of it, you can't get out. There's no handles, there's no nothing. It's just a flat panel. So you had to be mindful of that and not close yourself into the car. This right here, I just disable the child locks, and now back passengers can get out of the car. So the cage isn't hurting anything when it comes to that. I couldn't do anything with this if I took it out, so I don't know if I even should. I could probably sell these window bars on eBay for a couple $100, but I don't know. We'll see. It's not hurting anything, so maybe I'll just be lazy and leave it alone. I mean, there's two directions that could go with this car. I could go the muscle car route, take all the police crap off of it, put a custom hood on it, and that jazz. Or the other thing that is kind of tempting is I could go the kind of sleeper route and just have it look exactly the way it does, but clean all this crap off the doors, and then do some performance upgrades, you know, headers, exhaust, maybe a turbocharger. Let me know what you think in the comments, though. On the subject of budget, the other thing that was appealing about this car that made me buy it was when I was doing the math of all the parts I'm gonna need and all the random little stupid shit that I'm gonna have to buy to manual swap that other car, it came out to pretty close to the neighborhood of $5,000. And I probably could have made that cheaper by like getting used parts or stuff like that, but I'm not going to do a major overhaul to a car like that and half-ass it. I mean, I'm also not the fucking most mechanical person. I know enough to be able to kind of do a little bit of my own stuff, but I don't want to have a part go wrong and then not know like what or why. And you're less likely to have that happen with new parts. So that was the other reason, you know. I buy some transmission used off of Facebook Marketplace or whatever for like a couple $100 and do all the whole rigmarole to get it installed, only to find out I don't have third or fourth gear or whatever. You know, that would just... I don't like doing rework, and that would really piss me off. So you could probably do it cheaper. But this car at $4,500 with 100,000 less miles than mine, with a manual transmission, and me not having to spend a couple of weekends doing the work, everything about that just seemed right. So I went ahead and did it. And that's another factor that played into me purchasing this car. We talked about the pitfalls and shortcomings of this Crown Vic right here. It's bittersweet having to get rid of it after 5, damn near 6 years of ownership, but the old girl died, so we're gonna have to deal with that. I'm gonna talk about some things that I love and things that I don't love about this car. It is very, very similar in nature to the other Crown Victoria. This is a 5-speed manual rather than a 4-speed automatic. One thing about this car that has taken me a little bit to get used to, the clutch is just ridiculously heavy. To get it to shift smoothly and not jerk the car around, it seems like you gotta give it a little bit of gas. You'll see that a 5-speed Crown Victoria can be pretty damn fun. Well, for more spirited driving, I wish I had an e-brake somewhere here in the center, but I don't. I'm sure somebody out there makes some kind of kit. I don't know if the insulation that typically goes in between the carpet and the firewall was taken out or not. I do hear an awful lot of road noise, and part of that is the tires that are on this car are just noisy tires. I hear every bit of road noise that you could possibly imagine hearing. I could probably get a little more acceleration and torque out of this car by changing the rear end if it has the original rear end in it, because I forget what ratio they used, but the original police Interceptors, they had a rear end setup that would give the car a higher overall top speed, which is why the police Interceptors were supposed to go up to, I think it was 148 miles an hour. Going over 120 in a Crown Vic is sketchy as hell. You're really pushing the upper limits of what that Panther body style is designed to do. It would really feel like the car is going to fall apart. So if I could reduce top end in favor of low end, I think this car would be a lot more fun, which is already a blast. The story about how I bought this car. The used car market is kind of stupid right now. You really can't find a whole lot. I had roughly $4,000 to play with. As I was searching through Facebook Marketplace, I just typed in Tremec 3650 and I stumbled across this. I messaged the guy. He had it listed for $5,000, and I sat there and I thought about it, and I was like, well, I don't have $5,000, but how much of an offer can I send this guy that's like respectful and not lowballing him, but like not $5,000? I asked him, I was like, what's the lowest you'd go on that car? And he said $4,750, and I was like, well, that sucks because I can only do $4,500. He's like, yeah, well, I'm taking the car off the market. I'm no longer interested in selling it. I'm just gonna keep it. I'm like, fuck. All right. I mean, fair play. I don't think I'd sell this car either. So he messages me back a couple days later, and he's just like, hey, is that $4,500 offer you gave me real? It's like, yeah, I'm not here to kick tires. I'm not fucking around. You got the car. I've got the money. You know, let's make a deal. He ended up accepting my offer, and a couple hours later, I went out there and bought the car. In between accepting my offer, though, he hem-hawed a bit. He's like, well, let me think about it and this and that. You know, next day he gets back to me. Yep, well, I'll sell it to you. Like, sweet. Only thing more beautiful than a Crown Victoria Police Interceptor is a Crown Victoria Police Interceptor with a 5-speed transmission. And the fact that it's got the new coil pack, and it's got the Marty tune, and it's got pretty much brand new tires on it. Chef's kiss right there, you know. When I first got into this car and started driving it, it was almost like I knew it was manual, but I'm so used to driving an automatic Crown Vic that it took a little while to set in. And I'm sitting there, first time I went to drive this, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put it in gear. Oh yeah, fuck, okay. there's a stick here. So yeah, that was a bit of a surreal experience right there. Just that first time putting this car into first gear and driving off with it. I don't know if it's the Marty tune or if it's the transmission, but this car is a lot more responsive than the old one. It's got a lot more giddy up and go. I was riding with my roommate last night. We were on our way home from getting Chinese, and even he remarked about how much more powerful this car feels than the old one, and there's plenty of room to grow. One thing that's a little bit of an adjustment with this, though, is the previous owner, he put a racing clutch on it, and it's like ridiculously heavy, so you have to put your foot down on that motherfucker with some authority. I'm not used to driving a car with that heavy of a clutch, and to be honest with you, I haven't driven manual in like 10 years, so I'm a little, other than driving my motorcycle, so I'm a little rusty at it. So yeah, all in all though, if you're looking at the prospect of manual swapping a transmission in a Crown Vic, what I would really recommend is going on adtr.net. They sell like full blown out kits where they'll all the parts you need minus the transmission. And yeah, it's a little more expensive than individually buying the parts, but it's worth it because you'll just fucking have everything. If y'all like the video, go ahead and do that. Subscribe. If you guys have any commentary, anything you want to say, anything I should look out for, questions, or suggestions for stuff that I should do to this car, which this car is already just mad. I didn't really, like, I wanted to have something like this, but didn't really think I would, and I feel incredibly lucky. So if there's stuff I should do to get more performance out of this car that I hadn't thought about, you know, then why don't you go ahead and leave that in the comment section, and maybe we'll make a future video doing that. I don't know. Till then, you know, like, subscribe, whatever. Don't run with scissors. Fuck off. Have a nice day. I'm out, bitches.